Hi, it's Cameron Reynolds. There was tens of thousands of bees on this pollen substitute. Now there's not. Do you know why? This is why. This is maple buds right here, and they're starting to pop open on those trees. And I mean, there are just tens of thousands of bees on there. But yesterday, there was tens of thousands of bees on here. I fed probably 20 to 30 pounds of this in the last 10 to 14 days. So I want to have a quick conversation about the value of this stuff, my opinions, and all that jazz. So, first of all, it's not a substitute, it's a supplement. This stuff right here is a tool, and so are pollen patties. And I'm going to explain to you how I use them and why. So, this is my 23rd year, and I've talked to a lot of guys that have multiple generations of experience with pollen subs, and it really is a valuable tool at the right times. But you can feed this as soon as you get a frost in Tennessee. That's where I am, in North Middle Tennessee. As soon as I get a frost, I can start feeding this. But bees will take chicken feed, they'll take corn dust, wheat flour, all kinds of stuff, because bees are just a productive creature. They're always trying to do something for the better survivability of the hive. So, hey, can we go rob another colony? Let's go get their stuff. Hey, can we go get this chicken feed? Is that okay? And they bring it in, and then QC goes, hey, what the heck is this? Get it out of here. So it's Italian bees. Get it out of here. So anyhow, we got this pollen substitute right here. They'll take it November, December, and January. But you know what? The bees don't want to brood really during those times. And I have found that the only thing that really happens is my bank account gets lighter feeding pounds upon pounds of this stuff during those months. The bees really don't need a brood anyways. So I usually wait until about a week or two before the pollen flow starts. Today's February 5th. Maple pollen just hit today. Yesterday I was watching them just crush this. You couldn't hardly even see half of the red. It was so full of bees. But now they're just all up in those maple trees. And so this obviously is not near as good. The bees know that. But when it's not around, that maple stuff's not around, they'll go for it. So I usually feed a little bit of this beforehand, and that's to supplement, because we don't know. We might only get 2 or 3 days of the maple, and then it might just be terrible weather for a couple weeks. Then we shift over to another phase, because this is how it works. Once the maple starts, we really can't feed this stuff productively. It just, the bees won't take it, because if it's warm enough to fly and go get this, they're going after the real stuff. But if, let's say, there's 2 weeks or 3 weeks, especially, where there's no flying days, where they can't get this and they can't get the real stuff, that's where pollen patties come in handy. And again, it's a supplement, not a substitute. And so, gotta rest that arm. Where's Laurel when I need it? She's on strike right now. No, she's busy. So the bees won't take this, and we need to feed pollen patties, because once the flow starts, they stop looking at this. Those pollen patties can mean all the difference in the world, but some years you may not need it. So if you're getting a good flying day every 7 days or thereabouts, and your bees are able to bring in pounds of pollen, they probably don't need pollen patties. Maybe if you have some really weak colonies that are trying to maintain their cluster and they don't have a whole lot of extra bees to fly because they're doing everything they can to keep the brood warm, well, that's where it would be really helpful to throw a pollen patty on those guys. But as far as in general, pollen patties are just a fill in between the gaps this time of the year leading up till spring. But if you have 2 to 3 weeks, the bees are brooding now. As soon as this real stuff hits, they just go bonkers and they start trying to lay sheets of brood. And it takes a lot of heat. It takes a lot of pollen. It takes about a frame of honey and a frame of pollen to make a frame of bees brood. So that's a lot of energy this time of the year. We've got to make sure our bees have plenty of stuff. And so I am going to feed a pollen patty if we're going to get more than 10 days without good flying weather, so they can get the real pollens. And so it is a tool that we use, and in a good year, I may only throw 1 or 2 pounds on a strong colony. In a bad year, I might throw 6 pounds. So it really is just dependent on the weather, on what we need to do. And every year can be different. So remember, guys, this is a supplement, not a substitute. And there's a lot of feed additives, a lot of feeds and stuff, and they're just tools. You don't always have to use them but there's nothing wrong with using them. Our forefathers created these products because they had bad years and they knew that we would have bad years too. And so this is a great luxury to have when you need it. But there's no reason to feed it when the bees don't need it and they're not really needing to brood. So if you do it right, you can just spend a little bit of money, help your bees out when they need it, and don't just feed it for the sake of feeding it. That's my personal opinion. You can take that to the bank or not. It's beekeeping after all. We all know that our money just wants to fly away with the bees. So we'll see you in the next video. And remember, it's a supplement.